sound on here. Right, so yeah, just a really warm welcome to everyone on the BCC side of things. We want to say hi to all of you on our Zoom, and great to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us on the first of our Alpha nights. We're running Alpha over the next few Wednesdays into the summer, and we've got lots of people on the Zoom here with us. Leon is also on the call. Leon's our food bank manager and a trainee minister, and he is going to be helping me to host this, but we also have a number of other hosts who are going to be helping us with our Alpha as well. Now, what you might be able to see on our Zoom window right now that we're sharing is a countdown. And now that countdown is counting into a time where we're going to link in with... Oh, we've still got some... Thank you, Leon. If you just keep that muted for now, that's great. We're counting down and we're going to join in with Elim in the UK. Now, the Elim, we're part of Elim as a Pentecostal church movement around the world. And Elim have over 500 churches in the UK. And they are going to link in with us tonight. And we're going to be the first church that will link in with all of the Elim churches that are doing Alpha. And there's over 160 churches in the UK doing Alpha. And we're going to be their guests tonight, briefly at the beginning of all of these Alphas that launch at the same time. So we're going to be meeting with Mark Greenwood, who's Elim's national evangelist. And he's kind of the guy that with the brains behind all of this and kind of drawn it all together with lots of support from other people in Elim, no doubt, I'm sure. So, hey, Leon, are you looking forward to the Alpha?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Alpha tonight. And I'm really just happy to see all the BCC family out to support. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting. Really happy to see you. And yeah, I'm really excited for this course over the next 10 or so weeks, just to see, just for people to get together, have discussions, and just share their faith in Jesus. And I think it's such a great opportunity that we have as not just a church, but as a denomination. So yeah, Nick, I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, I'm just so grateful to the people that we have joining us on the Zoom and joining us online. So yeah, maybe we'll get a chance to say a quick hello to some of them.
Yeah, so we've got loads of people on YouTube. We've got 40 already on YouTube. I can see Tony Romano on there. Jane Bradshaw, one of our hosts, is on there. Linda, good to see you. Marcia Neville. Trevor Bailey, great to see you. Maya's on there as well. Beth, how are you doing, Beth? Great to see you. Lots and lots of people on YouTube. I'm just going to have a quick look on the Facebook as well. And we've got 12 on Facebook. That's absolutely brilliant. So really great to see you guys on Facebook. Maybe put a hi on the feed and let us know that you're there. Really, really looking forward to Alpha Online. Not really kind of done it on this scale before. So we're just like super excited to do that. Now we're going to be joining Elim centrally. That's what the countdown, if you're just joining us now, the countdown clock that you can see in the window there is Elim Central counting down to them joining with us and saying hi. And we've got 30 seconds to go with that. And then we're going to be chatting with Mark Greenwood, who's Elim's evangelist, and just talking about what Alpha, Alpha's been running for such a long time, just had such a great fruitfulness around the world. We're going to be talking about Alpha, our own experience of that, and just getting his views on that. So really looking forward to that.
Well, hello, my name is Mark Greenwood. Welcome to the really good news special Alpha Online. Did you know you are joining 164 other groups around the UK on this journey to think about life and to think about faith? We're part of a number of churches, or group of churches, called Elim. We've got about 500 in the UK and many thousands across the globe. And what you're involved with tonight is very unique. It's never been done before. So we are so thrilled that you have chosen to join us this evening. What's going to happen this evening is I'm going to chat for a little tiny bit to you. My name is Mark Greenwood, and I'm your host throughout Alpha Online with Elim Churches. And so I'm going to chit-chat a little bit. We're going to hear a one-ish minute story from somebody about their faith journey, and then we're also going to go and visit another group live. We're going to join them in their online group just to find out a little bit about them, and then a little bit more chat, and then we're handing back over to your local host for this evening's Alpha film series. So sit back, enjoy yourself. I hope that you're feeling nice and relaxed and feeling comfortable as we journey together to think about life. And so, without further ado, I'm hugely excited, not only that you've all joined us, but that we are able to come and join a group live this evening. So let's welcome Birmingham City Church, the clues in the name, and I'm going to introduce Nick and Leon to you. Hey, everyone, give us a wave. That's fantastic. Yay.
Hey, guys.
Yeah,
Superb.
Hey,
Superb. This is wonderful. How are you all doing? Are you good?
We're absolutely brilliant, Mark. So delighted to be part of something so pioneering. It's absolutely great. I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, Mark, we're really excited to be a part of this. I just want to thank you and all the hard work that you've done.
Oh,
and
thanks,
BCC
mate.
are here. We've all come out. BCC is out, ready to be a part of this pioneering time.
We're so excited that you've joined us. It's really, really exciting. I think I've done quite well pulling this together. I mean, I think definitely worth a rise, don't you guys? If you could write in and make that recommendation, that'd be simply amazing. But tell us a little bit about yourselves. You're from Birmingham. Tell us a little bit about the church. Have you done Alpha before? Is this the first time that you've done Alpha? Just give us a bit of a heads up.
So we've done Alpha lots and lots of times throughout Birmingham City Church's history. I think it's only been just recently that we've done it online. Leon, to talk through your Alpha on Zoom, because you were the last one to run it, weren't you?
Yeah, so during the whole COVID, obviously we couldn't gather together and do Alpha in person, so we did Alpha online, and it was a hit. I think people really enjoyed not having to get involved with the traffic. We took advantage of that, and it was really good because we still got to really, share the content and have those conversations, which is what makes Alpha so great. Is that people still get to connect, and so we're so excited and happy and thrilled to be a part of this experience.
No, that's cool, and it's good, isn't it, just to slow down and think about life's big issues, because I think the craziness of life sometimes stops you doing that. Now, I just want to know, okay, I can see all of you from kind of your waist or torso up. Who's already got their pajamas on underneath where they can't be seen? Anybody? There's some guilty laughing going on there. So I think we should definitely have a PJ show. I think we really should.
No, I don't want to do that. No.
Okay, let's not bother about that.
Hey, Mark, something that you would be quite interested to know potentially is that I'm actually a result of Alpha from the year 2000.
No way!
Yeah.
I did not know that. Tell us more.
Yeah, I became a Christian on an Alpha course at Letchworth Gardens City Church in the year 2000. Yeah, I did. And the rest is history, as they say. So it's great to be connected with Alpha. I've done Alpha lots and lots of times since then, but it's so great to still be connected with it and to see just how fruitful it is as a ministry. It's still going so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nick, just picking up on that, because I did not realize that. That's really exciting to know. For people who have come along to Alpha, who are just thinking about life and thinking about faith and maybe not used to an Alpha course, what piece of advice would you give to people in terms of asking questions and getting involved? People are not used to it.
Well, I would say try and keep an open mind. Now, it's easy to say that. I think when I went on the Alpha, I came along with some preconceptions and I asked lots of hard questions. I think sometimes I made them a little bit nervous because I threw some really difficult questions at them. But I did want to really get to the bottom of things. And what I found successively, week by week, was there was good substance that came back. And then eventually, we can talk about the detail of this another time, but there came a point at which I think, well, I know God did something that was independently God, that really kind of spoke to me in a strong way. And I suddenly realized that he knew me as a person and personally.
Wonderful.
And that happened during the Alpha course. So I would say come along with an open mind. Don't shut yourself down to possibility. Keep assessing things, keep questioning things, and you'll have a great experience.
That's wonderful. And have a list of those really awkward questions to ask your group leaders, right? That's important.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. We are going to say goodbye to BCC, but just before we do, you've got to give us a wave. Goodbye, everybody. Give us a BCC wave. Fantastic. Goodbye, and thanks for allowing us to be part of your conversation and your group for this evening. Fantastic. Enjoy the evening.
No problems at all, Mark. Great stuff.
Thanks, Mark.
Good to see you. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Take care.
Well done, Leon. Absolutely fantastic. And thank you guys for being part of that. That's quite a cool thing that we've done with Elim there. They're going to carry on and do a little bit more of their own live stream out to all of those 163 churches now. And we're going to continue on. So, Leon, if you kind of put us back into a kind of a tiled format, if that's possible. So I think you have to unpin yourself as a person, as the host. If you right-click on your video, I think it allows you to unpin yourself. Yeah. Or you can make me the host. You can make me the host again if you want to. That's fine.
Yeah, to say, yeah, that's what I'd do.
Make me the host, and hopefully that will come up on my screen. Oh yeah, great stuff. So right, let's see if I can do the view, and we'll go to gallery view again. There we go. So we're all there on the gallery view. Really great to see you. Coyote, really nice to see you. Chris and Clyde, great to see you there. Keith and Diana. Charlotte, great to see you. How are you? Great to see you. Melissa, really nice to see you. Thanks for joining us on the Zoom. Peggy, great to see you. So good to see you all on the Zoom window here. So what's going to happen tonight is we're going to watch a video of the first session of the Alpha. It's session 1, and we're going to get straight into that in just a minute. And for those of us on our live streams on Facebook and on YouTube, we're going to play that for you as a file direct so that you've got reasonable quality. But for those of us on the Zoom, we're going to share that as a file inside Zoom so that you can watch that here in Zoom. We're going to run those in parallel, and then we'll come back together at the end. So Leon, would you just open our Alpha course with just a brief prayer for everybody? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fantastic. Father, I want to thank you that we had the opportunity to do this course. And I thank you for everybody who's come out this evening, Father God, to seek to get to know you better, Father God. And I pray for all the people who are maybe joining us for the first time, who have got questions, Father God, that they'll really meet some real answers to some of their questions that they have, Father God. So I want to thank you for everything you've done, and thank you for this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. So I'm going to do some technical bits now, and hopefully what we'll get Alpha Session 1 showing up on your screens. I'm just going to hide this session from the OBS and get you going on your Alpha session. Yes, that's great. I'm going to kill the sound on there.
Check. Hi, I'm Nikki. Welcome to Alpha. Life is busy. Every day we ask so many questions. What should I wear? What's the weather going to be like? What's happening today? How am I going to fit everything in? But then there are those bigger questions. Like, why am I here? Where am I heading? Is this it? Is there more to life than this? These are life's big questions, but there's rarely enough time to think them through properly.
We all have different perspectives on the meaning of life and faith, and Alpha is an opportunity to explore life's big questions.
This is a great place to come together and talk about them openly and honestly. I'm Gemma.
I'm Toby.
And this is Alpha.
I go on Google.
I definitely Google.
I go on Wikipedia.
Internet.
I scroll through all the different answers, and then I try and combine it, and then make my own kind of cornerstone.
Or smart friends.
I don't ask big life questions. It's too hard to answer. Google or my grandmother.
I meditate or I read.
When I have a big life questions, I probably go to my family.
I haven't really had any massive ones yet.
To my mom or my dad, basically.
My mom and my dad, maybe my grand.
I get most of my answers from the library in any section there because I don't really trust the people that I'm around.
The key is always to yourself. You got to figure some things out for yourself.
If I'm confused, I go to him first. And he confuses me more.
But when it's something more personal, I try to find it within myself first.
Friends of mine told me that the first night they came to Alpha, they sat in their car for half an hour waiting and watching people going in. And eventually when they'd seen enough normal looking people going in, they thought they'd give it a try.
And one thing that might be going through your mind is, am I going to be the only one there who doesn't believe all this stuff, who's not a Christian, that doesn't go to church? Well, if that's you, then you're in the right place. Alpha is designed for people who wouldn't call themselves Christians or who are not regular churchgoers.
It might feel a bit strange to be discussing life and faith with people that you've never met before, but the best thing about Alpha is often the great friendships that are formed over the weeks.
For much of my life, I was not remotely interested in Christianity. In fact, I don't think I'd ever come to something like Alpha. I was not brought up as a Christian. My father was a secular Jew. He was an agnostic, and my mother didn't go to church, and I had no interest at all in Christianity. First of all, I just thought it was so boring. Everything to me about church, Christianity, religion was just dull and dreary, and it kind of made me feel a little bit guilty. I didn't know why, but I just didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I also thought it was untrue. I thought I'd sort of thought it through, and I'd come up with these intellectual objections, and I called myself, very pretentiously, I called myself a logical determinist. And I quite enjoyed arguing with people who called themselves Christians. And at university, I had a bit of a reputation for being an argumentative atheist. And I also thought it was irrelevant to my life. I couldn't see how someone who'd lived 2,000 years ago, 2,000 miles away, could have any relevance to my life today. It just seemed outdated and irrelevant. But at the same time, looking back now, I would say something was missing. I say that because I don't think I was living in the moment. I was always looking forward to the next thing in life. So when I was at school, I was thinking, when I finish my exams, maybe that will be when I'm going to really start to enjoy life. I finished my exams, and then after about 3 weeks, I started to think there's got to be more to life than this. And I thought, well, maybe when I've left school, that will be what life's all about. And then I left school, and after about 3 weeks, I started to think, there's got to be more to life than this. I thought, well, maybe the answer is to get a girlfriend. And somehow, I don't know how I managed it, but I managed to find a girlfriend. Again, after about 3 weeks, I started to think, there's got to be more to life than this. And basically, there was something missing. I was longing for more.
The actor Jim Carrey once said, "I wish everyone could get rich and famous and have everything they've ever dreamed of, so they would know that's not the answer." Some people dream of having their name in lights, of fame and fortune. Some people dream of finding happiness through relationships, careers, money, whatever it may be. But do you ever get that niggly feeling that, as good as those things are, there must be more to life?
Yeah, all too often life just doesn't turn out the way we think it should. And even when it does and we achieve our wildest dreams, it's somehow never quite enough. It just doesn't satisfy. It's like there's something missing. The comedian and actor Russell Brand said, "Drugs and alcohol are not my problem. Reality is my problem. Drugs and alcohol are my solution to fill up a hole inside me." And Jesus said, "I am the bread of life." In other words, I'm the one who fulfills the longing that's deep inside every human heart. Jesus claimed to be the one person who can satisfy that spiritual hunger.
Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of the rock group Queen, had amassed a huge fortune and attracted millions of fans. But he admitted in an interview shortly before his death that he was desperately lonely. He said this, "You can have everything in the world and still be the loneliest man, and that's the most bitter type of loneliness. Success has brought me world idolization and millions of pounds, but it's prevented me from having the one thing we all need, a loving, ongoing relationship."
Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." Ultimately, there's only one relationship that is totally loving and goes on forever, and that's a relationship with God. And Jesus said, "I am the way to that relationship."
guess maybe money.
What makes me happy? Music. Music, ice cream, and cheese.
Sleep makes me happy.
Going to the gym, seeing my friends, going to the pub, playing football.
Dogs.
Alcohol.
Women. Pretty much.
The idea of life in general makes me happy.
Clothes. Women.
More to life than this. Sure.
That's a really good question.
I don't know, I can't tell you.
I think we're supposed to learn a couple of things. There's nothing more.
I'm still figuring that out, to be honest.
No. Let's live in the moment.
Absolutely. I strongly believe that there's more to life than this.
No idea. Sorry.
When I was about 17, I was sitting having a burger with two friends, and we were looking out the window and commenting on a few of the stores across the street, and I suddenly realized that I couldn't read any of the signs, even if I squinted. So I asked if I could borrow one of my friend's pair of glasses, and as soon as I put them on, I realized I could see everything, like colors, shapes, words. I was amazed at how everything was so clear. And I could see before, but now I could really see. And to me, that's the best way to describe the difference that Jesus makes. Jesus is the lens through which we see God. And he's also the lens by which we see the world in a totally different way.
Jesus said, I am the truth. Some people's response to a Christian might be, well, it's great for you, you found meaning and purpose in your life, but it's not for me. But when you think about it, that's not actually a logical position, because if Christianity is true, it's of vital importance to every one of us. And if it's not true, it's not great for us, because it means we're deluded. C.S. Lewis was one of the great intellectual giants of the 20th century, probably best known as the author of the Chronicles of Narnia. He said this, Christianity, if false, is of no importance, and if true, of infinite importance. The only thing it cannot be is moderately important. I come from a family of lawyers, so naturally I wanted to look at the original documents and sources. I never really looked at the evidence before, and I was astonished at how much evidence there is for the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. For me, it was through reading these documents that we find in the New Testament that I came to the conclusion, it's true. One of the last cases I did as a lawyer was in the Court of Appeal in front of Lord Denning, an absolutely brilliant mind, perhaps the greatest judge of the 20th century. He said on one occasion that his Bible was his most tattered book in his library. He'd examined the evidence really carefully, and he came to the conclusion, it's true. One former professor of history at Oxford University described the resurrection as the best attested fact in history. I hadn't realized how many of the pioneers of modern science were believers. Descartes, Newton, Kepler, Galileo, Locke, Copernicus, Faraday, Kelvin, Pasteur. Francis Collins, one of the greatest scientists of our time, was director of the Human Genome Project, mapping the 3 billion letters in the human DNA, considered by many to be the most significant scientific undertaking of our time. He describes how he encountered Jesus and came to believe in the truth of Christianity.
Well, in the home where I grew up, faith was not something that was talked about very much. My father was a professor of drama, my mother a playwright. When I went to college and those discussions in the dorm late at night about religion began to occur, I had no particular reason to attach value to a faith system. It had never been something I was familiar with or had internalized at all. And I assumed that any religious feelings that anyone held must be on the basis of some emotional experience, and I didn't trust those, or on the basis of some childhood indoctrination, which I felt I was fortunate to have missed. I loved the experience of learning about the human body and all of the components of that, and I particularly loved being introduced to genetics. But then I ended up in the medical school curriculum sitting at the bedside of patients with diseases. This was no longer an abstract study of molecules and organ systems. These were real people. And one afternoon, one of my patients, a wonderful elderly woman, much like a grandmother, who had very bad heart disease. She had a particularly bad episode of chest pain while I was with her. She got through it, and at the end of that, explained to me how her faith was the thing that helped her in that situation. She realized that The doctors around her weren't really giving her that much help, but her faith was. And after she finished her own very personal description of that faith, she turned to me, and I had been silent, and she looked at me quizzically, and she said, "What do you believe, doctor?" And ultimately, I had to admit to myself that her question had made me realize that I had arrived at an answer to the most important issue that we humans ever deal with. Is there a God? And I had arrived there without ever really looking at the evidence. And I was supposed to be a scientist. If there's one thing scientists claim they do, is to arrive at conclusions based upon evidence. And I hadn't taken the trouble to do that. I was greatly assisted by a pastor who lived down the road, who I went and asked about all this, and who gave me a copy of C.S. Lewis's wonderful book, Mere Christianity. Because here was an Oxford scholar, a prodigiously developed intellect, who had traveled the same path. Within those pages, I realized for the first time that one can come to belief on a rational basis, and that in fact, given the many pointers that one sees around oneself in terms of the universe and it having a beginning, and its fine-tuning in terms of the way in which all those constants that determine the behavior of matter and energy seem to have been set just in a certain very precise range to make life possible. And many other things, including my beloved mathematics and why they actually work anyway to describe the universe, something that makes you think the Creator must have been a mathematician. That brought me then to the person of Jesus Christ as a person who was historically extremely well documented. That was news to me. I thought Christ was as much myth as history, and I realized after reading more about it, this was a historical figure upon which we have a great deal of evidence for his existence and his teachings, and even his rising from the dead in a literal way. That day at my patient's bedside started a journey for me. A journey that I was reluctant to begin, but I felt I needed to. A journey that I thought would result in strengthening my atheism, but to my surprise, resulted in my conversion.
There's a difference between knowing facts about someone and really knowing them personally. Now, I've known my husband Phil for 3 years now, but suppose if before we met, I found him on a website called The Amazing Man. Now, there's no doubt I would have looked at him and thought, okay, I'm intrigued. But what if each page was dedicated to his amazing abilities, his sparkling personality, his tender heart, his extraordinary intelligence, and his cooking abilities? Well, I would think, wow, he does sound like an amazing person. But that's head knowledge. But I also have the privilege of being married to him, and I know that he's an amazing person, which is knowledge that comes from experience of a relationship, and that's heart knowledge.
When Jesus said, "I am the truth," he was talking about more than just a kind of intellectual truth. The Hebrew understanding of truth was truth as experienced. And there's a big difference between a kind of intellectual knowledge and a personal knowledge, between your head and your heart. So when someone says, "I know Jesus is the truth," they're not just talking about being convinced of the evidence. They're also talking about experiencing a relationship with the risen Jesus Christ. So Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth," and lastly he said, "I am the life. I have come that you may have life and have it to the full." Jesus came to deal with the things in our lives that stop us from enjoying life to the full, the things that spoil our lives.
I hate shopping. I loathe it. I think I'm allergic to shopping. But occasionally my wife Pippa persuades me to go shopping, and just after Christmas it was the sales and she persuaded me to go shopping, and we went into the shop and we bought this very nice new sweater, and same colour as all my other sweaters, and we left the shop and we went to buy a present for her, and we went into this ghastly shop. It was so crowded, it was unbelievable, and even Pippa had had enough and she said, "Okay, we're leaving." So we went to leave, and as we left, the security alarm went off, and the security guys moved in very quickly and they stopped us all from leaving. And like the crowd that was trying to leave was stopped, and the crowd that was trying to come in was stopped, and we were there right in the middle. The 6 of us who were going through the security at that one time were all taken off and sectioned off from all the rest. And they wanted to see which one of the 6 of us had set off the alarm. So they sent one of them through, and that was fine. They obviously hadn't set it off. Then they sent the next one through. They obviously hadn't set it off. Then the third, then the fourth. None of them set it off. So it was left with Pippa and I were standing there, and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm married to a shoplifter. It must be Pippa who's got set off the alarm. So they sent her through, and she didn't set it off. So I thought, oh my goodness, I've obviously got something. Someone must have planted something on me. I'm going to be arrested. I'm going to be sent to prison. All the crowd were watching, both sides. They were just watching this criminal who'd been caught going through. So they went through, and as I went through, the alarm went off. They took me to the side. They opened up my rucksack on my back, and there they found this sweater from the other shop with the tags still on it. I felt so guilty. That was like false guilt. I also sometimes experience true feelings of guilt because I do things that are not right, that are not good. And this is the wonderful news that God loves you and he loves me. God came in the person of his Son, Jesus Christ, to die for you and for me. And on the cross, he took all of your guilt, all of my guilt, everything you've ever done wrong, everything I've ever done wrong, said wrong, thought wrong, and he died in our place in order that we could be forgiven. And forgiveness, C.S. Lewis said, it's like a recording of our life wiped completely clean. And when we receive that forgiveness, we find life, and life in all its fullness. And that's what Jesus wants for you and for me. Life in all its fullness. Life at its very, very best.
I think for so many years, I always just strived to be strong in myself. And it was as if that all I needed was me and my buddies and, would be like invincible. But the truth is, none of us are. And I don't want to do this thing called life. I don't want to do it on my own. And it kind of feels like my longing for this light inside is now stronger than my fear of what others might think. And people often ask, well, doesn't that make faith like a crutch? And, well, maybe, but, what does a crutch do? A crutch helps you stand, and it makes you stronger. And in that case, sure, I need a bit of that. But especially when it's so much more than that. When this faith inside is also like a backbone, helping me stand tall and helping me be strong when I'm really up against it, facing those odds, whether it's on a mountain or stuck in some jungle or just dealing with the storms, with the storms of life. Sure, I need it. I need that. But at heart, my Christian faith says that I'm known to Christ, bought at a price, blessed with light. Faith says that we're loved, regardless of our mess, regardless of how many times we fall down, and that Jesus somehow picks me up. And sure, I'll reach out to that. Why wouldn't I?
I used to think Christianity was boring, untrue, and irrelevant. But when I read about Jesus, I realized he was anything but. Jesus said he's the way to God. He's the one who brings meaning and purpose to your life. He said he's the truth. He said he's the life, that true fulfillment is found in a relationship with God through him.
Alpha is a place where you can be yourself. You can say what you think and challenge everything. No question is too complex or too simple. And what your point of view is as important as anyone else's.
And over the weeks ahead, we are going on a journey together, an adventure to explore the questions of life, faith, and meaning. Think of it this way. If you live to be 70, you're going to spend 20 years and 3 months asleep, 10 years and 5 months watching TV, 5 years and 9 months in some form of transportation, 7 years and 6 months eating and drinking. You have approximately 570,000 hours left to live. So why not spend less than 24 of them asking life's biggest questions?
Welcome to Alpha.
Well, hey guys, welcome back. I'm just going to return us to video, hopefully. I'm just going to stop screen sharing, and hopefully we'll get a Zoom window back. Great to have you with us on the first session of the alpha. Just do a quick check. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you, Nick.
Great stuff. Thanks, Leon. That's brilliant. Well, I hope that all came across okay. I was checking it on my phone, on Facebook, and on YouTube. We've got loads of people on tonight. We've got around about 100 people on the alpha of BCC, just under that. We've got just over 60 on YouTube. We've got 21 on the Zoom, and we've got 10 on Facebook, and just delighted that you're all joining with us on the alpha. That's the first session, the introductory session. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to hand the hosting over to you, Leon, if that's okay. And we'll do that. And if I just make you the host a minute, and if you have a go at divvying up people into some rooms, I think we've got 21, maybe 3 rooms of 7 would be brilliant. So let me make you the host a moment. So we're going to just transition the hosting over to Leon. So if you go ahead and just do that, those people who are watching on the live stream, what you'll see is some of us kind of disappearing. We're just going off into our Zoom chat rooms. But what we're going to do is Leon and I will stay on with you online, and we'll take some questions from you. So perhaps if you want to put some comments and questions on the feed, like our live stream feed, we'd be really pleased to do that. Is that okay, Leon? Is that working all right for you? You managing to
that's
assign
working
that?
fine.
Nice one. Great stuff.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, so as I say, for people watching on YouTube and on Facebook, what we're going to do is we're going to stay on the Zoom window, myself and Leon, and we're going to chat to you and just kind of, get your feel for this initial video and to discuss that. Meanwhile, the guys on the Zoom groups, they're going to have a chance to chat just kind of privately in their Zoom areas, and we'll take it from there. So just while we're waiting to go into our Zoom rooms, kind of any initial thoughts from what you've seen tonight? I saw there's some great little snippets in there. I really like Bear Grylls saying that he was now less afraid of what people thought of him and more concerned about following after that light that Jesus is. I thought that was a great statement. Anyone else want to just offer something?
Can I say something personally?
Yeah, go ahead, Coyote, please. That'd be brilliant.
I think the video that we saw showed the futility of life. We saw people in universities and different places with different kinds of experiences. But without Jesus, their life didn't mean much. They started living real life when Jesus came to their life. And I think that is the starting point for us tonight. What are we holding tight to? Without Jesus, it's meaningless.
I think you're right, and I think it's quite interesting the way they panned to different people trying to answer different questions. And lots of people were pretty stumped about how to answer, is there more to life than this? And you could tell different people were really struggling with some of the answers to those things, finding those really difficult. Anyone else? Go on, Keith and Diana. You might need to take yourself off mute.
I could personally identify with the feelings of, well, that didn't work, did it? There must be something else. And we went through that as a young married couple. And it was only when I actually met Christians. Well, my wife became a Christian first, and I saw an immediate change in Diana. And then I met Christians who got what I hadn't got. So there was certainly an identification with what was said on the screen, a feeling of searching, not really finding it until that moment when I saw reality in people.
That's great, Keith. Thank you for that. I would certainly identify with seeing changes in people, both in myself. I've seen a change since becoming a Christian, a big change. And other people that I've watched journey through that decision to start seeing Jesus as a person that they can follow with their lives, and some of the changes that come with that, very, very positive changes indeed. So So Leon,
well, those breakout rooms are ready now, Rick.
Are they fantastic? Do you wanna bung us in those breakout rooms and just assign that? So people on the Zoom, you'll be put into a breakout room with some people to have a chat with, and we'll carry on the live stream a little bit and talk to people on the live streams. Thanks, Leon. Thanks for doing that.
No problem. So if the breakout room facilitators could just introduce themselves when you get into the rooms, that'd be great.
And we'll do about 10 minutes or so, shall we?
10 minutes.
Yeah, great.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
There we go. Wow, look at that. It looks as if there's... Oh, no. Wow, they've all gone. Just like that. As if by magic. Leon, you're a genius.
Magical technology.
Yeah, that's tremendous. What a great transition that was. That's fantastic. Thank you for doing that. Really, really good. So yeah, we've kind of got ourselves through to the point where we'll bring those guys back. But let's go across to our live streams and just have a look through some of our live streams. I'd really just encourage you, for those of you who are watching on YouTube and on Facebook, love to hear some of your questions or points. Jane, one of our moderators, our online pastors, has sort of said it was great to hear Bear Grylls say that a crutch is important in life. I hear this a lot, like knowing Jesus is a weakness. But actually, I really identify with that, because I think that initially it does feel like a weakness that you are saying that you have a need. But actually, when you think about it, you get everything from your relationships with other people. You know, when you grow up in a family, you get everything you need or you should be getting everything you need from your family. And then you get stuff from teachers and from coaches and from bosses and from mentors and peers. And all you have to do is look at the amount of stuff on social media where people follow one another because they're inspired by the people that they like and admire. So this idea that Jesus is exempt from that, or is the only person in history that can't apply to, seems to me to be nonsense. What do you think about that, Leon? The idea that, it's a crutch or a help. What do you think?
A help, I think, is exactly what you said. At times, everybody needs a crutch. Because I think as human beings, if we can be honest, we can always say at times we struggle with things and at times we're going to need help. So I think, we're definitely going to need help at all times. But one of the things he said is that his faith is a backbone. And I really liked that, because he said it's a backbone that helps him to stand straight. And I think that's one of the great things about knowing Jesus, is that he gives you that strength to say, okay, even though I might not be as sure in who I am, I can find my surety and my identity in Christ. And I think when we know Jesus, he really helps us to find a lot of strength in who we are, and he helps to give us our identity. But another thing that Bear Grylls said, which really struck with me, I think it's knowing that he's an adventurer and knowing that he's one of those people who is maybe always used to having to be resourceful and maybe rely on his own resources. It struck me that he was actually saying, at times, I don't have the resources I need. At times, I need to be able to go to another place to find those resources I need. And I think that says a lot of about his humility, about his humble character. So sometimes we just say, you know what, actually, I might be very capable, but I recognize my limits. And at that time, we can reach out to God, who's always there and willing to be able to, to work with us and to help us and to partner with us.
Yeah, I think that's such an encouraging thing to hear, because somebody like Bear Grylls, you look at him and you kind of think, you've got it made. The guy owns his own island. He was in the French Foreign Legion. He can jump out of a plane and survive anywhere on the planet. And yet, if even he is saying, no, actually, I know my limits and I need someone to lead me through life, I find that incredibly honest. Just a really honest thing to say, isn't it? So, there's a lady on our Facebook side of things, on the Facebook page, a lady called Jo, and Jo has put something ever so honest. She's put, I think at the point in the video where it was talking about something missing on the inside, and she says, "Oh wow, that's me. Something is missing." And Jo, I just want to say to you that that is very much my story as well. I knew that I was looking for something before I met Jesus. There's no question about it. I spent the 90s, which was kind of roughly correspondent with my 20s, just looking for something, looking for an answer. searching everywhere for it and not really finding it. And it was only when I encountered Jesus and suddenly sensed that God was real in the year 2000 on an Alpha course, actually, funnily enough, that I stopped looking. I just really want to encourage you, Joe, that you're in the right place and you're looking in the right direction if you're interested in looking for something to fill that hole. Do you want to speak to that idea of something missing on the inside, Leon, at all?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely my story as well. So I became a Christian 10 years ago. And before that, I was most definitely in search of something. I used to travel a lot. I used to go backpacking. I used to go all around the world because I was looking for something. And I thought once I would get hold of that something that I was looking for, then I'd feel whole inside. But no matter what it is I got, nothing would ever make me feel whole or content. And then I met Jesus. And there's a story where Jesus meets a woman at the well in the Bible. And this woman that he meets, he says to this woman, if you drink that water in that well, you're still going to be thirsty. Because he understands that the thirst in her life, it isn't a physical thirst. He understands that that's a thirst that's deep inside of her. And he says that water's not going to fill that thirst. And he goes, basically, all people, we try to fill that thirst inside with different things. It could be money, it could be success, it could be relationships, it could be different careers. But Jesus says that nothing that you drink of this world will be able to fill that thirst inside of you. But he says to her, but if you drink of the water that I give you, you shall never thirst again. But from inside you shall flow a spring of living water. And that's what Jesus can do for us. That he is that thirst inside of us that we're looking for. He says that he's the well that will never run dry. And if we come to him, we won't thirst again, but we'll have a spring of living water that leads us into life everlasting and an abundance of life.
That's great. And it links so nicely with what they said near the beginning of the Alpha video, if you remember, about Jesus being the bread of life as well. He gives us these very kind of concrete or very definite images of who he is as a person, who is able to meet our very deep spiritual needs. When we turn to Jesus, he sustains us with his person, with who he is as a person. He nourishes that inner spiritual person that is on the inside of all of us so well. And he uses the illustration of bread and water to say, okay, I'm everything that you need. So good. Let me just have a quick look on YouTube go ahead. Was there something you're going to say?
From Trevor Bailey. Hi, Trevor. It says, with so many billions of people, past, present, and future, can you explain how God builds a personal, unique relationship with us all equally?
What a great question, Trevor. Absolutely great. Well, what you have to understand about God is that God is a pretty large person. He's infinite. He's a very big person. He's all loving and he's all knowing and he's all powerful. And he's the creator of heaven and earth. And so right from the very beginning, his nature is such that he's able to do way, way more than a single person could do. And he can do it all at the same time. He never goes to sleep. He doesn't need to. He's completely loving. He's completely just. He's existed from before time. He will exist after time. He's on another level. And so I think sometimes we can forget that God has these incredible attributes and is incredibly powerful and is able to do multiple things all at once, all the time. And so don't be freaked by the idea that that it's a problem for him to sustain all these relationships simultaneously, because he can. Now, having said that, and that's an attribute of God as Father, having said that, I think he understands that freaks us out a bit. And I think that's one of the reasons that he sends us a single person, the person of Jesus, because when we have a connection with a single person, like me and Leon that you can see on the screen, we're friends, we work together, we know each other, the stuff that I know about Leon, he knows about me, and we get along. We have that personal connection. And in the same way, God is able to overcome the fact that we might be a bit freaked out by how big he is by sending us his son to have that relationship with him. So I hope that tries to... A great question, Trevor. Really, really good. Leon, what's your thoughts on that? How would you answer that one?
When I think about God is not like us. God created us. God is the creator of heavens and earth. He created the solar systems. He created the planets, the oceans, the seas. He created us. He created ants and babies and donuts. God created all things that we can imagine. God is not like us. He's not limited to the way that we're limited. And there's a word that we use, it's called God is Omnipresence, which means God can be literally everywhere. He can be everywhere at the same time. And I think the great thing about that is God is able to be everywhere at the same time, which means he's able to be with us at the same time. God is also outside of time. He's not limited to time structures like how we're limited to time structures. So God is so great that he's able to be outside of time, be everywhere at the same time. That's the way he's able to have that personal relationship with us all.
So let's just have a quick look and see if we've got anything else on there.
Breakout rooms are about to come back.
Are they going to come to an end? Yeah. Gaudi, great to see you on our YouTube. God is omniscient, which means all-knowing. That's absolutely right. And Roy, one of our elders, has put one of the lessons people have realized during the lockdowns is that we all need each other. That's so true, Roy, because we're all made in his image and we're designed to fit together, aren't we? So I think what we're going to do is we're going to be bringing back our Zoom group. So now, Leon, we can shut down our live streams, or we can open out the live streams and the Zoom group all at once. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, we could keep the breakout rooms on for a bit longer, if you think.
Yeah, should we give them a little bit more time?
Yeah, give them a bit more time.
How much time have they had so far? Is it 10 minutes?
Yeah, they've had 10 minutes.
Let's give them another 3. And what we'll do is we'll wrap up online. What I'd want to encourage you to do, there's been some great interactions online. Thank you for all the different points you put in. If something strikes you after we've finished, you are welcome to email us and ask us your question. Or perhaps you'll be somebody that's maybe watching this at another time on catch up. Perhaps you do shift work and you can't join tonight, but you're watching later on. We'd love to encourage you to connect with us and send us an email, admin@bcc.life, and we'll pick up that and respond to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our live streams to an end. We'll then bring our Zoom groups back and have a little bit of a chat with them before we finish. But I hope you've enjoyed tonight. I have loved it tonight. It's been so great.
Yeah, it's been great. What a great video we watched as well. I'm
really
great video. The next videos. So yeah, BCC family, please invite your friends and family to join us for the next 10 weeks where we're going to be meeting for Alpha for 7:30 on Wednesdays. As you can see, it's a great course and we're open to all questions. So please encourage your family and friends to join us.
Great stuff. So we'll just do our countdown video now and we'll say goodnight to you. We'll see you soon.
Good night, BCC.